as their season has morphed from one of promise into something which is now spectacular and surreal. Hearts supporters have looked around for context. Before Monday's game with Rangers, one conversation sought to establish the significance of the match among the litany of those which Tynecastle has hosted. By common consent, its importance outweighed that of the victory over Aberdeen in 2006, which secured second place. In terms of an occasion, only those old enough to remember the win over Bayern Munich in 1989 had known anything like it. All bets are off now. If Derek McInnes' side hold their nerve at Fir Park and Celtic fail to beat Rangers, Wednesday's game with Falkirk will be the biggest occasion in Georgie since April 5, 1960, when Tommy Walker's side beat Clyde 5-2 prior to clinching the title with a 4-4 draw at Love Street. How would you quantify the achievement of the manager if it comes to pass? There may not be adequate words, but a flick through the history books may offer some understanding of the scale of the feat we may soon witness. The last manager from out with the old firm to win the title was plain old Alex Ferguson back in 1985 with Aberdeen. 2 years before that, Jim McLean produced a miracle with Dundee United. That McInnes now stands on the brink of joining the list of Scottish managerial greats is simply unarguable. All roads have led him to this point. As a young player at Morton, he listened intently to the words of Alan McGrath, a figure he saw more as a father who he never wanted to let down. A seasoned pro at Rangers, he watched and learned from the great Walter Smith, the gaffer, who was then to become his first point of contact before making major career decisions. Captain of West Brom under the sage Gary Megson, he led the Baggies to promotion to the Premier League, thriving through responsibility, soaking it all up like a sponge. He was always a manager in waiting. It was only a matter of where and when. It arrived at McDermott Park in November 2007. It's often overlooked that while Owen Coyle laid the foundations for the St Johnstone's first Scottish Cup win in 2014, it was McInnes who took them back to the big time in 2009 after a 7-year absence by lifting the championship. Under him, the Perth men finished in 8th spot in the top flight twice, thus prompting interest from Bristol City. McInnes succeeded in keeping the English club in the championship at the first time of asking, but was sacked the following January with them propping up the table. He remained a man in demand. Aberdeen soon came calling. By any measure, his 8 years at Pittodrie were a resounding success. The Dons won the League Cup in 2014, their first trophy in 18 years. They finished runners-up in the league 4 times, including 2 occasions after Rangers had won promotion. There would assuredly have been more silverware in that time had Aberdeen not faced a Celtic side resurgent and dominant under Brendan Rodgers. But some notable European scalps were also taken, Groningen, Rijeka and Viking, among them. McInnes made the Red Army walk tall again. With such an impressive body of work, he was constantly linked with a move back to Rangers, where had been part of the side which clinched 9 in a row in the 90s. After sacking Pedro Caixinha in 2017, the Ibrox club made their move in the expectation that the boyhood Rangers supporter would drop everything and come running. They assumed incorrectly. McInnes valued his relationship with then-chairman Stuart Milne more than Rangers ever knew. He was concerned that Rangers was too dysfunctional and, to the chagrin of chairman Dave King, stayed put. "I've had a lot to consider over the past couple of days," he said at the time. I appreciate that it's been a testing time for everyone including my family, and I am pleased to be now focusing on the field matters. The Ibrox club were furious at the perceived snub, with an infamous statement claiming the move to Glasgow would have come with a concomitant risk. McInnes has the last laugh, though, going on to edge out his former club for second spot behind Celtic for the second time.